Hello and welcome to Winchester News Online. I'm Harry Jewell and these are today's top stories. This week we'll see large-scale industrial action with lecturers, teachers, firefighters amongst those striking. Universities will have the first walkout of their 18 scheduled days. I went to the University of Winchester to find out more. The UCU, University and College Union, have announced a series of strikes over issues relating to working conditions, pensions and pay, which will begin on the 1st of February. The University of Winchester will be amongst 150 different universities striking at the beginning of next month. I was unable to obtain an interview with the University of Winchester. However, they did provide the following statement. While we understand the motivation for university staff around the country to vote for this strike action, particularly in light of the rise of cost of living, our priority is to ensure our students face as little disruption as possible.
I think that's going to set a lot of people back, and it's going to cause issues.
I think it's an unfortunate thing that the lecturers have got to do. I support it. I wish it didn't have to happen, but I support it.
I want to be a teacher when I'm older, so I sort of understand where they're coming from. I completely get that they're doing it because of inflation, they're losing money and they're expected to work more hours, which is also unfair.
I support them as well, firstly, despite the inconvenience, I guess.
The chair of the Winchester UCU wants to see a variety of changes introduced as a result of these upcoming strikes.
So what we're hoping for is for a proper negotiated settlement for the employer bodies to sit down with our negotiators and get a proper settlement to this. We don't want to strike for 18 days. 18 days is a lot of wages to give up, but this is a strike that's came partially out of desperation because the employers just won't listen to staff and their concerns.
Just yesterday, the Firefighters Union announced a series of strikes to begin in February, proving that the university lecturers is not an isolated series of strikes. Harry Jewell, Winchester News Online. It's not just university lecturers who are striking this week. Primary and secondary school teachers are also joining in on the action. Amelia Hopkinson is here to tell us more.
Teachers in England and Wales will begin strike action tomorrow after discussions between union leaders and the government failed to find a way to avoid industrial action. The National Education Union has announced it will hold a further 6 days of strikes over the next 2 months, all in the hope that teachers will receive a fully funded above inflation pay rise. It's estimated that up to 330,000 teachers will walk out across England and Wales this Wednesday, in what is set to be the biggest teacher strike in 15 years. As many as 23,400 schools are expected to be affected by this action, and several head teachers have already announced the closure of schools to avoid further chaos. Gillian Keegan, the country's education secretary, argued that teaching strikes will only hurt children, especially in the context of the disruption they have faced due to COVID. She has also pledged to do everything possible to protect children's education.
If morning commutes weren't hard enough, try adding hours worth of traffic into your schedule. This week, our reporter Owen Noon took an early trip to Redbridge to find out why the roadworks were so significant to the traffic.
For motorists, there's not many things more annoying than traffic, especially when that traffic adds delays of up to 2 hours onto your morning commute to work. The Redbridge Causeway, a bottleneck road from Totton to Southampton, has been deemed unsafe for vehicles, pedestrians and cyclists due to the structural damages to the underside of the bridge.
It's corroding quite badly, and although it's not a danger at the moment, eventually if you leave it, it will be. So what is happening is that we're repairing the concrete, and at the same time we're installing a system which drives moisture away from it, and as a consequence we need to close one lane, and I'm really sorry for the disruption, but it is essential.
These pictures of the underside of the bridge show damage known as concrete cancer, where the metal within the concrete corrodes from the inside out. The work is being done on a floating pontoon, and it isn't set to be fully finished until the start of summer 2023. Daily commuters have been left scratching their heads, wondering what to do now and why the work is going on now.
The traffic is a massive inconvenience to local businesses and people trying to get to work. I work for a school, and at the moment it's taking some staff up to an hour to make a journey that should normally be only 15 minutes.
For local residents, it became a case of either having loud working sight at night or heavy congested traffic in the morning. And for the daily commuters, however, the traffic seems near impossible to avoid. with the main points of advice being to sit tight, to be patient, and to give yourself that little bit of extra time on your morning commute, even if that does mean having to get up that little bit earlier.
Owen Noon, Winchester News Online.
A new campaign has been launched to raise awareness of a condition that affects 1 in 10 women in the UK. Endometriosis can impact fertility and is often described as a debilitating condition. Lily Gage has been speaking to those affected.
Fran is one of the 1.5 million people who are affected by endometriosis. England Lioness captain Leah Williamson also suffers from the condition. She told Women's Health that she was concerned it would flare up before their Euro Games. But it's a condition that affects every part of the person's life.
I can only be in the gym for about 20 minutes and then I'm in absolute agony, and it lasts about 2 weeks before I can then go again. It sort of affects everything. I can't go out drinking. Drinking sets you off instantly in pain.
Endometriosis is a chronic pain condition where cells similar to the lining of the womb are found in other places. The chronic pain condition affects 1 in 10 women and those assigned female at birth. Those that suffer from the condition often experience symptoms such as pelvic pain, period pains that stop them doing normal activities, difficulty getting pregnant, as well as many others. In recent research, it shows that it takes an average of 7.5 years to get a firm diagnosis of endometriosis. Endometriosis UK exists so that those who suffer from this condition have access to support and reliable information, as well as fight and campaign for change and better treatment options.
For me, the main thing is just making sure that so many young women know more about their bodies, because the impacts of not knowing about endometriosis when you're in your late 20s or early 30s can be devastating.
Endometriosis UK started a fundraising campaign called Winter Walk for Endo. This fundraising event took place from the 23rd to the 29th of January to raise money so that they can offer support to those that suffer from the condition. For more information, go to Endometriosis UK. Lily Gage, Winchester News Online.
Transfer deadline day has arrived. Oshan Davis is in the studio to tell us about local team businesses this window.
An important January transfer window for our struggling top division teams is coming to an end as deadline day has arrived. Bottom of the table Southampton have welcomed exciting talent Mislav Orsic from Dynamo Zagreb for £8 million, along with Argentine Carlos Alcaraz for £12.3 million. Additionally, the Saints have recalled Jan Bednarek from his loan spell in a bid to survive in the Premier League. Bournemouth, who are also in the relegation zone, have welcomed Uruguayan international Matias Viña from Italian giants Roma on loan for the rest of the season. 24-year-old striker Antoine Semenyo has been signed by the Cherries for £10 million from Bristol City, alongside fellow forward Daniel Otara from Lorient. The Cherries have also welcomed Darren Randolph from West Ham. Both clubs have been reluctant to sell due to their poor league form. Bournemouth and the Saints have only seen rotational players leave on loan. The window will continue throughout the day, with Southampton trying to get the last deal over the line after reportedly agreeing a £25 million fee with Rennes for Kamaladine Sulemana. Additionally, personal terms have been agreed between Bournemouth and Hamad Traore from Sassuolo for €30 million. That's all the news in the transfer department. Back to you, Harry.
Lights, camera, action. Netflix's cameras were back in Winchester for the filming of the award-winning series The Crown. Sinead Cochran visited the set to see what stars she could spot.
Netflix was back in Winchester for the filming of the final season of The Crown. With production lorries being seen on the cathedral grounds for the last week, many locals have been trying to catch a peek of the action.
As long as it was done sensitively and carefully, well, I think it's quite good use of another location.
I thought it was very interesting. Yeah, it was one of my favourite series.
But I actually don't agree with the current series of Crown because I feel it's too close to recent events, too sensationalised.
Reputation. The people of Winchester aren't the only ones expressing their concerns with how recent some of the events in the upcoming series are, with many being uncomfortable with the filming of Diana, Princess of Wales' funeral and death scene. This is not the first time that the cathedral has been used as a replacement for Westminster Abbey, where Diana, Princess of Wales' funeral was held. This is the second day of filming, with services now being held in the Undercroft instead. Recently, Winchester College was used as a substitute for the prestigious Eton College.
year.
But why is it that the Crown comes to Winchester instead of these iconic places?
Westminster Abbey is one of the most famous places in London. It's going to be full of tourists. It's going to be generating lots of income of people visiting. Whereas somewhere like Winchester, although it's fantastic, is going to be a lot quieter, easier to do so.
The final season of The Crown is set to come out later this year and continues on from 1997 till 2003, meaning the people of Winchester will have to wait to see their city on the small screen. Sinead Cochran, Winchester News Online.
That's all the news we have time for today. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.